Well, 2 million New Yorkers will have to dig a little deeper to keep a roof over their heads. The fight for rent rollbacks fell on deaf ears yesterday at Hunter College. That's where the Rent Guidelines Board voted to increase stabilized rents for the second year in a row.
The motion passes by a vote of 5 to 4.
We don't make that much. Your boss gives you a 2% increase. It doesn't compensate for the clothes, the food, the commuting, everything. It's just not fair.
So one of the members who took part in that vote yesterday joins us this morning, Adan Soltren, who is a tenant advocate with the Legal Aid Society. So good morning, Adan. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's review what the vote actually was. So one-year leases go up by 3%,
That's
right?
correct.
And two-year leases will go up by 2 3/4 for the first year and a little over 3% for the second year. How did you vote on this?
So it was a bit complicated this year. We voted yes, myself and the other tenant member. It's not something that happens frequently, particularly when there's an increase. But there was actually a split by the public members. They weren't in agreement as to what the numbers of the increase should be. And in order to preserve the lowest possible increase for tenants this year, it was a situation where we had to vote.
So lesser of two evils for you.
You could say that.
Tough decision.
Well, you did say you voted, you negotiated down. Last month the panel proposed up to 5% increases for one-year leases, 7% for two-year leases. How long did the panel take to negotiate these rates down?
If I could be honest, countless hours. Even as recently as this long Juneteenth weekend, I remember on Saturday I was constantly on the phone with different public members, with the chair, with the mayor's office. So it took quite a while.
Mayor Adams, who actually appoints members, right, of the board, he had this to say. Let's listen to it. Actually, we have this. Finding the right balance is never easy, but I believe the board has done so this year, as evidenced by affirmative votes from both tenant and public representatives. So do you agree with what he had to say?
So I respectfully have to, disagree to an extent. It's not a situation where myself or my co-rep, Genesis Aquino, we're happy about this, right? Like, at the end of the day, folks are devastated by these increases. And we don't believe, given the history of the Rent Guidelines Board's decision-making, as well as the current situation for tenants, that it was warranted and justified. I think, I keep hearing this sort of red herring or this other argument about helping out the small landlord. That's not really a thing in New York City when it comes to rent-stabilized housing. They only represent 1% of the actual rent-stabilized ownership. So while I understand the mayor wants to try to preserve and help out those smaller landlords, it's not really what we're kind of focusing on. So it wasn't a deal that we were happy about and something that we kind of entered into willingly. It was more a situation that, for lack of a better word, was forced on us.
All right. Well, public advocate Jamel Williams chimed in on it. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, he said every year landlords are going to ask for hikes, yet rather than addressing systemic issues, as we have seen, the greatest impact of increasing rent will be increasing homelessness.
And he followed up, landlords argue that they're carrying the burden of rent stabilization programs, of course. Listen, first of all, what do you think about what public advocate Jamel Williams said?
I think what the public advocate said is pretty spot on. You're already looking at a situation where a large percentage of New Yorkers are rent burdened, so they pay more than 30% of their household income in rent. You see inflation has gone up immensely, and homelessness right now in the city is at over 92,000 folks.
Yeah.
And so, I got to say, Jamel Williams hit it right on the head.
Yeah,
what about the fact that, or that landlords are basically saying they're carrying the brunt of this rent stabilization? After all, we do know the costs go up on maintenance and things of that nature, but of course, salaries have not gone up, and we're post-pandemic. This is a really rough time.
Yeah, I think you raised some good points. To your point, costs do go up, right? That's just the reality of life. Costs also go up for tenants. And again, if you look at the history of how rent stabilization and these votes have gone on for decades, landlords were actually overcompensated for about 30 years. If you look back the last 30 years, they're overcompensated by about 50%. So they've had more than enough money to help operate their buildings. We also don't have accurate and adequate data as to what their profits look like, because that would require them to actually open up their books or for us to do some sort of financial auditing, which again hasn't been done since 1990. So while I understand the plight, when you're looking at these two things, it's a false equivalency. You can't look at the struggle of a human, of a tenant, to pay their rent or be out on the street, and then look at the struggle of someone who's making a business decision.
Yeah, and there's no affordable housing out there. There's not a lot out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, when you hear, and the PR doesn't look good either, when you hear of one of the tenants I think we spoke to saying that she knows someone who has to carry an umbrella to go to her own bathroom because her her apartment is leaking. I mean, this is a sad situation.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And, you know, during the public testimony days in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, you know, I remember there was one woman who came literally with the eviction notice that she had just been given with her 3 kids, and they had no place to go.
Yeah, well, I know it's a tough vote for you to make. But thanks for taking the time to talk to us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks again.
All right.